business plan is a series of documents, segments of information, and an outline of a plan of action put down on paper so that a new business entrepreneur can follow. There are many plan templates available in books, on the internet, from various government and small business entities, and each one has a very good outline that one can use. The business entrepreneur should be willing to explore several different templates before beginning the building of a business plan process. This segment deals with incorporations, bookkeeping, banking, professional assistance, and other information. Let's first look at incorporations. There are a variety of different types, and each has an advantage as well as disadvantages. Please note that this author is a proponent of acquiring a legal advice from a qualified attorney, as this segment will only briefly discuss the different types of incorporations. Incorporating a small business establishes it as a living entity subject to various different tax requirements, as well as taking tax deductions. Ensuring the various incorporations meet the legitimate requirements, such as taking debt, undertaking legal documents, and meeting all government regulations, should be taken serious by the small business owner. General information about incorporations are listed below and comes from several sources on the internet. Limited liability corporations. Owners report their share of business profit and loss on their personal tax returns, similar to tax reporting for general partnerships. C corporations. Forming a C corporation allows a business owner to create a separate legal entity that can shield their personal assets from judgments against the business. S corporations. Owners report profit and loss on their individual tax returns. Nonprofit corporations. These are usually used in educational, scientific, religious, and charitable organizations forming nonprofit entities. These provide limited liability for the people involved in their management. Professional limited liability. These are for individuals who have a license to practice law, accounting, medicine, doing architecture, or other professional services. Limited liability series. A few states now permit companies to form a business structure known as a series LLC. This type of limited liability company can have multiple series or groups of members, managers, or other LLC interests. And finally, limited partnerships. A limited partnership provides some protection from liability for certain partners. Limited partners contribute capital to the business but cannot participate in its management. Let's now move on and discuss for a minute about bookkeeping services. This author believes that the small business owner should have an intimate understanding of accounting functions such as general ledger, payroll, taxes, appropriate deductions, cash in, banking operations, payment schedules, and other key areas. On the same token, this author believes that if the business owner is not familiar with general accounting practices, he or she should consult with a bookkeeping service to help set up the books, as well as keep informed in providing the means of keeping accurate records. On the market, the business owner has many available computerized accounting systems to keep track of information on a daily, monthly, and yearly basis. Unless the business owner understands the intricacies of taxes, the business owner should rely on the resources of a dependable bookkeeping service to undertake these issues. Depending upon the accounting structure of the business, depends upon the type of bookkeeping service that might be available in the community. Cost of a bookkeeping service can be minimal versus future payments on higher interest rates fees, and/or tax penalties. Acquiring a good bookkeeping service will save a lot of time and effort for the future. Let's now move on to lending resources. Banking services are definitely needed for small businesses. Without the banking services, a small business usually cannot grow. In addition to cash infusion, banking services allow a small business to deposit federal taxes, state taxes, or other regulatory requirements. Additionally, they have financial tools such as debit transactions, electronic fund transfers, and many other services that help to keep the cash flowing. A small business owner should be aware that there are many types of banks, and each one has its own specific characteristics. Generally, there are the retail and commercial banks available for small businesses. A retail bank works with consumers, otherwise known as retail customers. Retail banks provide basic information and services to the general public. Retail banks can be community banks that are locally operated financial institutions that empower employees to make local decisions to serve their customers and their partners. There's a community development banks that provide financial services and credit to underserved markets or populations. There are also credit unions, which are not-for-profit cooperatives owned by the depositor and have offering rates more favorable than for-profit banks. Typically, membership is restricted to employees of a particular company, residents of a defined neighborhood, members of a certain labor union or religious organizations, and/or their immediate families. There is also the private banks that manage the assets of high net worth individuals. Also available are commercial banks. Commercial banks is a bank that works with businesses. Commercial banks handle banking needs for large and small businesses that include basic accounting, such as a savings and checking accounts, lending money for real and/or capital purchases. There are lines of credit and letters of credit. They also have lockbox services, payment and transaction processing, and foreign exchange. Finally, a small business owner should consider mentors, business counselors, educators, and economic development individuals that provide support in running a small business. Running a business is by no means an easy task. Most successful businesses today have had a myriad of helpers throughout the business lifetime. Most often, these services are free and to the public, and most often, fees have already been provided in the form of taxes. Two of many federal programs that assist business owners include the Small Business Administration and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA. One can find information at www.sba.gov and www.usda.gov. Likewise, the Chamber of Commerce's, located in an area of the business, also has a lot of information that can be shared and contact resources that would be available to small businesses. There are other community programs throughout each individual state, and by doing a search on the internet, new business owners can find many individuals willing to assist. Thank you for listening to this segment. Our next segment is writing a business description, segment 11.